Good morning, people. Welcome back to the channel. It is a pretty dull Thursday morning here in Marbella. What you just saw was Samson. He's not on a walk with us right now. He's in the vet getting the snip. So he is about a year old now. So he's actually a year this week. So he said, you know what would be a great birthday present? Let's chop off your balls. So yeah, kind of feel bad after leaving him there because he had no idea. Clearly, like, you know, he's not understanding what myself and Emma are saying in the house. Look, it's just part of I guess it's part of like the tradition that people do with dogs, right? Get them neutered. We definitely don't want to breed them. We neither of us have the capacity to rear multiple puppies or to deal with a distant father, I guess, because he wouldn't be actually the one with the what do you call a female dog? A bitch? Yeah, a bitch. Yeah, he wouldn't be the one with the bitch. And to be fair, he's actually showed absolutely zero signs the entire time of us having him to be in any way like sexual. We've never seen like humping things, so maybe he's asexual. Who knows? But anyway, he won't get the chance to explore. But that's just a doggy life. So yeah, anyway, aside from Samson's getting his balls chopped off, today's Thursday, today's push day. Some alterations being made to push day as well at the moment. Oh my god, this tracking, come on, let's go. Tracking enabled, there we go. Yeah, some alterations being made to push day today, just as a result of realising that I'm probably doing a little bit too much volume in the session. So if you've been watching the Pragmatic Guide to Building Muscle, which you should, I'll put a little card up there on the top. One thing I've definitely noticed with the push day across like the last few weeks is that I've been getting towards like the latter quarter of the session and just feeling like done, feel like the pump I would have gotten throughout the session has started to diminish and I'm just really not as focused, and that for me is a clear sign I'm just doing too much work. So the workload did increase just before Christmas, and it kind of increased out of nowhere in the sense that, like, I was training with a friend, we did a couple of extra sets on a different exercise, and I was like, you know what, this actually feels grand. So I did that for a couple of weeks and it was fine. And whereas like now, even though my food's a lot higher, body weight's higher, I actually find that, yeah, you know what, that extra exercise I added in completely not necessary, and I think I'm just overdoing the amount of pressing that I'm doing within the session. Like I'm doing like 4 different presses, like there's absolutely zero need for that. So yeah, look, just a city call on my part, but that's why we are course correcting it this week. So I will bring you through that session when I'm in the gym. Hopefully this week the mic is fixed. I'm not quite sure what's happening with it, to be honest, because I've tried it like 3 times and it doesn't seem to be turning on. So I may have to buy a replacement, which is very annoying, considering that's going to be like now 3 sets of microphones that I have. But yeah, such is technology, flimsy, can't rely on it. We have a week and a half left of this gaining phase. So this morning 93.5, body weight across the last 2 weeks 93 on average. So we're in a good spot. This is 6 kilos up from the start of, for the middle of August. So we have a quick mini cut then, 4 weeks, and back on the gain train. So yeah, have to make the most of these, whatever, 8 last sessions of this gain phase. But even when you go into diet, it's pretty much the exact same mentality, still going in with the aim to progress. No point going into a diet phase and just going on the defense straight away. You still want to come into the same mindset that you are in there to win. Otherwise, what's the fucking point? Right, we're back in the kitchen. Pre-workout meal time. I'm just getting my rice and chicken ready here. My potatoes and broccoli are already done. Now, one thing you probably can't see here. So, broccoli, if you put honey on it, amazing. So when I make my broccoli, I put a stock cube in a pot, boil that, put it in the air fryer, put a bit of butter spray on it, some garlic granules. When it comes out, top it with honey. If you're somebody who's fussy eating vegetables, guarantee if you do this, it's gonna taste like you're gonna want to eat more broccoli because it's just that good. And you know, that's actually one of the strangest things about when people say they don't like vegetables, is I think the majority of the time it comes down to how people are cooking and preparing it, right? Most of the time when people prepare vegetables, they make them very blandly, like they just boil them or steam them. And while obviously, you know, steamings are great for retaining nutrient quality, I would argue that if you don't like them that way, that discourages you from eating more of them. Cooking them in a way where, you know, air fry it, whatever, pan fry it, whatever it may be, maybe add a little bit of sauces, different seasonings, some honey, some oil. I think the health benefits you get from that, even if you add in a little bit more calories, vastly outweigh you not include them in your diet whatsoever. How many food sources do we eat on a daily basis where we don't season them at all or don't cook them in a way that's nice? Like imagine if you boiled a steak, like would you eat it? Probably not. You probably think steak is disgusting too. If you boiled chicken breast, if you just ate boiled potatoes. No, most of the time we're cooking them in a way that enhances the flavour and we get a little bit more out of them. So yeah, keep that in mind when you are looking at adding more vegetables to your diet. They should look to enhance the flavour profile of the meal, or you should be looking to actually make them taste nice. That's not to say that you need to deep fry them, but a little bit of honey, a little bit of oil, a bit of seasoning, it goes a long way, and your fibre intakes are going to increase, your bowel movements are going to go a lot more regularly, you'll feel a lot better as a result of getting more micronutrients into your diet. So get on it, be a bit more creative with what you put into your food, and I guarantee you, things like performing well, feeling good throughout the day, and getting in good shape are going to come a lot easier to you. And my two other favourites right now for enhancing the flavour of pretty much most of my meals is crispy chili oil. You can't see the label, but it's Lao Gan Ma or Lao Go Ma or something like that. Lao Gan Ma crispy chili oil. I put this in most of my rice dishes. I also put a little bit on top of the broccoli as well. And then almond butter. So almond butter, it's superior to peanut butter in my opinion for these type of meals. Really high in polyunsaturated fats as well. Good way of getting into additional fibre into your diet too if you do have the one that's a little bit more. But yeah, I guess there's 10 grams per 100 grams of this. So yeah, again, even in something like this, so this is just one we got in like the health food store. So this, chili oil, bit of honey and vegetables, chef's kiss. Samson, the girlfriend, has come over to check on him. Is he home? Hey Pippa. Hey Pippa. Samson's not home. He's not home. Alright people, we are back with a voiceover. So the DJ I'm Mike is fucked. I don't know what happened. I think reading some reports and getting some advice on it, I think it may have been damaged by moisture in my bag somehow. Anyway, we'll have to get a new one because I do, as I said, want to do more gym based content, and I can't do that unfortunately because the DJ I'm Mike is just not great for picking up the audio at a distance. So starting off with some abs. So 3 times a week I'm training the abs, pretty much doing a maintenance level of training with them right now because I don't necessarily need to develop them any further. So with these Roman chair leg raises, for example, I'm just really focused on driving the hips up off the pad and rounding my lower back and just doing as many reps as I possibly can. And once I hit that point where I can't do any more reps, that's all I do. I don't even keep track of it anymore. As I said, I don't necessarily need to develop the abs much more. I'm really kind of using that as like a warm up, a way to kind of get me into the mindset to come in, train, and hit the session hard. With the first upper body movement that I'm doing here, it's a dumbbell lateral raise. So dumbbell lateral raise, just single arm. I've been getting a really good connection on these, and it feels so much better than machine lateral raise that I was using. The machine lateral raise, like the trailing arm is like an awkward length, and then as well the heights of the actual machine, the heights of the platform, I can never get it to really align with my shoulder joint. So using something like this is just a better option for me, get a better connection with it, way less swinging, way less chance of like other muscle groups coming in and me kind of trying to just muscle the way up. So I'm gonna stick with these going forward. And yeah, I really like having some type of single arm like lateral raise move within. So I have this within the session, as well as I also have a single arm cable lateral raise, which I did forget to record. Emma was rushing me out of the gym. The downside of going at the same time as your missus is that her training sessions take a lot less time than mine. And yeah, when she's like, when she wants to go home, she wants to go home, and she makes it known. So I wasn't bothered kind of recording for much longer than I needed to, but I got the majority of the work recorded for you. So here we're on to my dumbbell chest press. So not as good a performance as the previous week, so I got 50 for 5 here, and that is down 2 reps in the previous week. I probably could have went for a 6th, but there are some reasons which you will find out about in the next clip as to why I didn't go for the 6th, and potentially reasons as to why I wasn't able to progress them in general this week. Maybe my body just was not in a position to train as hard as I wanted to. So yeah, watch this clip. Crisis strikes just as I am getting ready for my top set of dumbbell press there. So this is my last warm up there, 46 kilos, and like once I got off the bench, like my back really started to ache. It's not like lower back pump or anything like that. If anybody's had like back pain where it feels like things are grinding inside your back, that's kind of what it felt like, and it's kind of still there now, to be honest. If I start to like push my hips forward, it's there. So to be honest, I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to get to 50s up, let alone be able to press them. Not a great set. Like, happy to control, happy with depth. I probably could have pushed for another rep, but it would have been a grind. I'm going to use my back as an excuse here for limiting power output, because once the brain starts to sense pain, it's going to make you output less force. But anyway, I'm going to do 2 light back off sets now. I'll probably have to down to like 42 kilos per hand, or maybe 44, and just see maybe 8 to 12 reps on both of those. And then that would be chest exercise number 1 picked up. So yeah, picked up a little bit of an ouchie. I went into my whole thoughts on what happened after these training clips are done, so you get where my mindset is at. It is the next day when I'm recording this, and I have actually decided to take a rest day and just focus on resting today, hit my post session tomorrow. But all my other thoughts are going to be wrapped up in the next clips after these training clips are out of the way. So this is my second back off set. So 44 kilos per hand, I think I went down to. Again, just focus on good quality reps and getting as much out of the movement as I can. A big thing that I will have issues with is just like, trying to move bigger loads than I can, and not being able to control reps, or maybe missing out in depth. So I've kind of succumbed to the thought that, or succumbed to the notion that I'm just not a big presser, right? Like I don't have like the arm size to be pressing well north of the 50s, or throwing up 3 plates per side on these overhead presses. So I just really need to kind of play to my own strength, right? What can I realistically do, and not get swayed by what I see people moving on social media, right? Like ultimately, at the end of the day, I think comparison is the thief of joy, and it's very easy to look at people who are maybe similar size to you, younger than you, and see them moving big loads and be like, why am I not moving those weights? And again, I think we're all just at our own levels, and I think it's important for us to accept that, and just like our level of strength is our level of strength. We can progress on our level of strength, but we can't just like wish or hope that we're going to get up to somebody else's. And in bodybuilding, strength isn't necessarily the determining factor of success. It's not powerlifting. It's determined by the size of your muscle, the shape that you have in regards to your structure and symmetry, determined by your posing, your conditioning. So lots of other factors other than how strong you are. And nobody's ever going to ask you on stage how much you overhead press or how much you dumbbell press, and that's more so something for me to keep in mind, because I think when we're chasing loads within bodybuilding, while it is part of progression, right, we do ultimately want to be trying to push to high levels of performance and getting as strong as we can. It's chasing loads that are not yours and that you can't control, you can't get good level of range of motion with, and maybe that leaves you stuck in training plateaus, or leave you frustrated, or lead to you getting injured, for example. It completely counters the goal of what we're trying to do in bodybuilding, which is try to accumulate enough progressive sessions that are gradually increasing in training stress over time, that we're recovering from, and that we can have like those accumulate in weeks and months, not necessarily just like working up to a heavy load, just being able to lift it. Because again, it's bodybuilding, we're building our body, we're not chasing numbers the same way a powerlifter is. So doing these dips, I really like these. So I'm facing the opposite way on this machine, because I find if I face inwards, even though it has the knee restraint there, that it just feels awkward. And any dip machine I've used where I'm facing the other direction, I find they just feel awful on my shoulders. Whereas facing the way, look, there's a tricep press down by Atlantis. It's pin loaded and it's facing out this direction. It's the nicest one I've ever used. I use it all the time when I was living in Canada and training Pure Muscle Fitness. The only downside is that there's no knee restraint when you're facing it this way. So I've got a seat belt around my hips just to stop the weight lifting me out, because naturally enough, that is a heavier weight than my body weight. So the weight would ultimately kind of just like catapult me out of the seat. So having that there just increase stability, so I can use more of my upper body rather than having to like clench my legs around the seat and hope that that's going to keep me in there. How about this side of the tricep extension, or this side of the cable sack? Isn't it always that the weight here is so heavy? Like obviously it is like it's a single pulley system, so there's only like the weight that's on the stack, that's the weight that you're pressing down. But it's always such an ego like killer after you could potentially use the whole stack when you're using like the dual pulley system, or the 2-to-1 pulley system. But anyway, is what it is. I'm gonna have to make like a thumbnail where I'm like, or like, to go with this video. Bit of a disaster that. So training's been going phenomenally, and then whatever happened there during that training session picked up a bit of an ouchie, bit of a back pain episode. It's still here with me right now. It's in the room. I can feel it as like I'm more like when I'm sitting down. Actually, if I like, no, not this position, but more like if I come into a little bit more of a hips under me position, posteriorly pelvic tilted, as you would say, it is kind of sore. And when I start to kind of come into rotation a bit, it feels like my spine is grinding and the muscles around are grinding. But anyway, I could have easily sacked off that session completely, but I've dealt with enough of these episodes over years, right? Not like it wouldn't be a frequently occurring thing. I think the last time something like this popped up was literally years ago, and that's despite doing loads of powerlifting training,
working up towards 300 kilo squats, deadlifting 300. Never had anything like that pop up in that time frame. The last time I got it was, I'd say, probably at least 5 years ago. Now, the first time that I had something like that pop up, I catastrophized massively. And as well, not only was I catastrophizing in regards to what that pain meant and making it maybe limit me, or thinking about how that's going to impact my strength progression or my muscle gain over time, I would also, within the same session, I remember this very, very clearly, the last time it happened, I was like, okay, this exercise is off the table, let's go try another exercise that was a similar exercise that incurred the pain. It was a squat at the time, and I think I went over to do, I think it was trap bar deadlifts. They felt terrible. Okay, trap bar deadlifts, okay, maybe let's move on to something else. Okay, hack squat, same as a squat. And that made the pain even worse. And every exercise that I did then, that led to more and more pain, kind of built up this model in my mind that I was fucked. Now that I've learned a lot about pain, I've learned a lot about how your body recovers and adapts, and I've learned a lot about stress as well. I know that once this type of thing happens, the most important thing that you can do within the session is don't freak out. Whatever has caused the pain, maybe try to remove yourself from doing that particular thing and go on to exercises or movements that you can perform without having discomfort. So there wasn't any kind of sharp, ripping effect that that happened during this session, like it did when I got the injury when I squatted. What happened here was I actually came off the bench, and once I got off the bench and stood up, I was like, oh, my back's feeling a bit weird here. So anyway, I was able to perform my dumbbell presses, able to perform my overhead pressing, I was able to perform my dips, every single exercise that was on my plan for today, and I didn't have any pain during the sets. It was just like the moving around after that was really causing it. Right now, what I'm going to do to help remedy that is absolutely nothing. I know that this pain episode is going to clear in the next few days once I don't aggravate it any further. Now, things that are going to aggravate it, there may be particular movements that may be a little bit more of a higher risk for injuring it, or keeping it there at least, or irritating it. So that's probably going to be a lot of heavy loaded squat patterns or leg press movements. It's probably going to be more hinge based movements, for example, where my erectors and spinal muscles are having to stabilize the spine, for example. But everything else, I'm probably going to be able to perform. Like tomorrow, I have to go in and do a pull day. I'm likely going to be able to do everything except for my bent over rows, and that's completely fine. And I think this is one of the beautiful things about bodybuilding, is that I'm in the gym to train muscles. I'm not in the gym to train movements. So if there's an exercise that does not fit with my current status right now, I can change it for something else. It's a lovely, flexible adaptation that we can strive for. Once we're training the intended muscle, we're pushing out relatively close to failure, and we can somewhat overload that over time. Now, what that may look like is maybe tomorrow I have to take out my pendlay row, or my bent over row, pendlay row, bent over row, and much of muchness. I may have to sub that out for some type of chest supported row, where I am keeping my torso a little bit more horizontal or a bit more vertical, for example. And with the chest support, I'm not really having to rely too much on my erectors to stabilize my spine throughout the movement. I can just kind of brace it into the chest pad. That's still going to let me to train the main muscles that I'm looking to get within that particular exercise. And then when I take my rest day on Saturday, and by the time I come to legs on Sunday, I'll probably be right as rain. And that's because, number one, I am going to adapt my program to what I can do versus keep poking and prodding it. And I'm also not going to catastrophize the situation. I've had the experience of this being really, really bad before and prolonging for a long period of time because I kept poking and prodding, and because I kept telling myself that this is not going to get better. Whereas there's a huge psychological element to recovering from a pain event, and so much of that is related to hopefulness and having that positive outlook and the story you tell yourself about what the pain means. I know that the pain is not life threatening. It's a little bit sore when I move around. It's probably a 7 out of 10 pain. So, it's quite painful, but it's not going to stop me. It's not debilitating. I don't have to stop what I'm doing and just lie in bed, nor would that be really, really helpful anyway. But I know tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be quite stiff. I'm probably going to have bad night's sleep tonight, right? Let's be honest, because I won't be able to find a comfortable position, especially since it seems to be worse when I'm kind of sitting down these more static positions. But tomorrow I'm probably going to wake up and it's going to be quite stiff. And once I get a bit of movement in the morning, going for my walk or whatever, it's going to loosen up a little bit. I'm going to go into my training session. I'm going to perform movements so I can perform and have a good training session when I'm in there. And that is going to bolster some more optimism to myself. Then by the time Saturday rolls around, the height of the irritation is likely to have died down. Sunday and legs, I'm probably going to have to adjust my training session a tiny bit. I probably won't be able to do my deadlifts, for example. So I might even just do like a load reduced deadlift, like as opposed to deadlifting like 240 kilos, I might just go down to 180, for example, and just do a little bit higher reps, right? So again, I'm modulating the load to what I will be able to present to it on the day. Then by the time Sunday rolls around, Monday comes along, I'm almost certain that this will be completely subsided. Other times when it's happened, I know that this mindset has led to quicker return to full training, and I think it's just one of those things that, having experienced it so much and having worked with people who have had more of this like forward-thinking optimist mindset and hopeful mindset, they typically recover so much quicker than the people who just see it as like the end of the world. I think a big mistake that people make when these things happen is like not just the catastrophizing, which definitely doesn't make it any better, but it is like they feel they need to get to the root cause of what exactly happened. Now, a lot of back pain is very non-specific. Like, there's no way that like a physio could put his hands on me and look and feel my back and be like, yes, it's this muscle, or it's this bunch of nerves, or it's this vertebrae, yada 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 yada, right? Like, it's nearly impossible. And even with something like an MRI, for example, MRIs, they quite often will show things that could have been there before the incident popped up, but during that time you're asymptomatic. And then when you see maybe some type of thing in a scan, you might see, which is very common, like degenerative disc disease, which just happens really as we start to age. And people see that and be like, okay, that's the cause of it. And if you look up what things to avoid when you have degenerative disc disease, it's things like training, which we know is going to have a beneficial role long term in regards to improving bone mineral density, improving resilience of your spine, and things of that nature. So I think if you have something like this pop up, going to see a specialist straight away is completely unnecessary, especially if you're still able to move around after, right? Again, I'm not debilitated at all. I'm still able to move about, still able to go about my day, still able to finish my fucking training session. So something like this is just akin to if you pick up an ouchie in a different muscle group or in a different tissue, right? But I think it's because there's so many different nerve endings in the rest of the back that heightens that pain response, and also there's the whole narrative around your back being fragile, and people be like, oh, you need to make sure you pick this up correctly, or people be like, my back exploded, which is just doesn't make this situation any more bearable. But we know that spines are very, 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 very resilient. Look at any person who deadlifts a huge amount of weight. You tell me that person's spine is not extremely well built to deal with the forces that they're handling. So I know my spine is in the exact same situation. Just something happened today, and it's hard to explain. Hydration is on point, sleep is on point. Likely my body just said, you know what, today we're just going to give him a bit of shit. So look, pretty positive regardless. I know by the time I record this next video, I'll probably be back to training as usual. And we won't have done anything magic, won't be adding in any special exercises. If anything, I'll just be adjusting the current training program I'm doing to fit what I can do, what I can load, and probably reducing some of the weight in the bar. Maybe look at using some higher rep ranges on particular exercises that maybe are a little bit more are a lot higher in loading, and maybe a little bit more sensitive to. But other than that, don't need to get too exotic with anything else. So look, it is 6 p.m. I am gonna do a bit of DJing. So I've been doing about 30 minutes of DJ practice most days, I'd say, at least. Some days if I have a bit more time, I'll do an hour or more. It's just so fucking addictive. It's so nice to have a hobby again. It's just it's one of those things I can honestly have 2 hours pass and I don't feel like I've done anything. I feel like I need more time. So it's just, this is something that can bake into this pain relief, right? Some type of stress management, some type of outlet to shift my focus away from how my body parts feel, because that's another thing, right? People, when they do have these pains come up, what do? They lie in bed all day. They don't do anything. They don't move. And what happens? They just think about the pain and they think about the injury, and that's just not helpful. We want to be able to shift our mind from it and focus on a different outlet that we can still find some joy in. And this for me is one of them. And I've been so enjoying getting back into it. And I'd say I think I've gotten a lot better. Well, I've gotten a lot better because I've been actually like practicing more, and then I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube. YouTube is amazing because you just learn so much about different topics. But yeah, experimented more, and I'm preparing for my DJ set at my wedding. So on day 2 of our wedding, we're having like a festival theme day, and myself, a few friends, we're all going to DJ, and I've just been like preparing my set, practicing with different songs that I may like to play, and now I have a set list laid out, and I just want to practice across like the next couple of months and try to get a good feel for the mix I'm going to do, because preparation in DJing is also very, very important. Just like preparation for your training. Like, you don't go into the gym without a plan. You go into the gym with some type of structure and some type of idea or goal for the day, and the exact same thing should be done for DJing. Other than when you're just, you're jamming, you're just mixing, you're just trying out different things. But if you're coming in to play something like a gig, like I used to DJ in clubs, it's important to come in with a playlist or a mix list, or at least a list of potential songs. So anyway, I have about an hour here, so I'm going to get into this, and I will catch you on our walk. And there we have it, folks. Last meal of the day. We ran out of rice, so no stir fry for dinner, so I'm settling for 2 burgers with chicken, bit of cheese. We have some potatoes cooked in the air fryer with some sunflower oil. I know, seed oils, I'm gonna die. And more broccoli. And that is a final meal. Haven't had burgers in ages. So I'm gonna wrap up this video here. Not the video I wanted to record at the start of the day, but it's a video I ended up recording because, reasons. Look, tomorrow is a new day. It should be, as I said, a bit stiffer tomorrow, but by the time I'm recording next one, we'll be a-okay, and we'll be back to kind of training as per normal. So that wraps up today's video. If you have enjoyed it somewhat, please do consider hitting the follow button or subscribe. Give me a like. Any questions, any words of motivation to get me through this troublesome time, also drop them there. And yeah, we'll catch you in the next one.